There's a hole in Kung Fu Panda so big that once you see it, you can't unsee it. 4 movies, nearly 8 hours of story, and not once, not one single time, do these films ever explain where Kung Fu actually comes from. The most important thing in the entire universe, and it just exists. Nobody questions it. Nobody asks who made it. So today, I'm going to show you the answer the movies refuse to give you, the real origin hidden in the franchise's own lore. And then, I'm going to show you why I think DreamWorks left it out on purpose. There's even a moment where they almost tell us, and pull back. Let's get into it. Let's prove this first, because it sounds impossible. A franchise literally called Kung Fu Panda. That never explains Kung Fu. Come on. But watch. In the first movie, Kung Fu is already everywhere. Po worships it. The Furious Five have mastered it. Tai Lung weaponizes it. But notice how it's introduced. As a legend that already exists. Oogway is called the greatest master in history. The Jade Palace is already ancient. And nobody in any of these films ever asks the obvious question. Who invented this? Where did it begin? And here's what makes it strange. These movies love origins. Kung Fu Panda 2 gives us Po's origin. Kung Fu Panda 3 gives us the pandas and the entire spirit realm. Kung Fu Panda 4 gives us Jen's backstory. The franchise builds whole films around where things come from, but the origin of Kung Fu itself, the thing the entire series is named after, never appears on screen. Not once. Now, I keep saying on screen for a reason, because outside the movies, the wider Kung Fu Panda lore does have an answer. And honestly, it's beautiful. The problem is, almost nobody who only watched the films has ever heard it. So here's what the franchise's own canon actually says. And to be clear, this is established Kung Fu Panda lore, not my theory. Kung Fu was never taught to Oogway. He created it. Nearly 1,000 years ago, Oogway left his home and traveled across the world to China. And yes, canonically, Master Oogway is a Galapagos tortoise, which means this gentle old turtle once crossed an ocean and a continent on foot. High in the Wudan Mountains, he found a small, still pool. He looked down and saw his own reflection. And the story says he was so overwhelmed by the beauty of the natural world that he wept. And then he sat. He meditated beside that pool, focusing on nature so completely that, the way the lore describes it, he could hear the beat of a butterfly's wings and see light in the darkest cave. And out of that stillness, Kung Fu was born, not as fighting, as harmony. The original meaning of the words was excellence of self. And here's the detail that stopped me cold. He didn't do this in an afternoon. He spent 10,000 days perfecting it. 10,000 days. That's roughly 27 years. 1 tortoise, 1 mountain pool, 27 years of meditation, inventing the single thing that the entire Valley of Peace would one day be built on. So if this answer exists, why would 4 movies go out of their way to never tell it to us? Okay, here's where I move into my own reading. And I don't think this was lazy writing. I think the movies left it out on purpose, and it makes the storytelling smarter, not weaker. Think about the single biggest lesson in the entire franchise, the Dragon Scroll, the legendary key to limitless power. Po finally opens it, and it's blank. Just a reflective golden surface that shows him his own face. There is no secret ingredient. The power was inside him the whole time. Now go back to the origin. How did Oogway create Kung Fu? He looked into a pool and saw his own reflection. He didn't find Kung Fu in a temple. He didn't inherit it from a master. He found it by looking at himself. It's the same answer. The blank scroll and the mountain pool are telling you the exact same thing. The power doesn't come from somewhere out there. It comes from looking inward. It's the same trick as the greatest twist endings. The answer was sitting right in front of you the entire time. Kung Fu Panda just pulled that twist on the entire concept of Kung Fu. So think about what would have happened if the movies had stopped to explain it. A big history lesson, a flashback lecture on the ancient origins of Kung Fu. It would have completely undercut their own theme, because the whole point is that you don't get the answer handed to you. You have to look inward and find it yourself. By keeping the origin a mystery, the films make us, the audience, do exactly what Po has to do. The blank scroll isn't just Po's lesson, it's ours. Now, remember at the start, I said there's a moment where the movies almost explain it? Here it is. In the very first film, Oogway says the line everyone knows, "There are no accidents." We all quote it, but listen to it again with the origin in mind. This is a being who spent 27 years in meditation, learning to perceive the entire universe in motion, and he's telling you that nothing is random. That line is the closest these movies ever come to revealing what Kung Fu actually is. Because real Kung Fu, the thing Oogway invented at that pool, was never really about punches and kicks. Those are the beginner's version. What Oogway truly mastered was perception, the ability to see everything so clearly that the future stops being a surprise. And here's my honest theory. The reason Oogway can seem to predict the future, the reason he chooses Po against all logic, the reason he leaves this world at exactly the right moment, it isn't magic. It's that the original Kung Fu was a way of seeing. The fighting is just the surface. And across 4 movies, the films keep showing us the result of that perception, while never once explaining the source. They show you the effect and quietly hide the cause. Now, let me argue against myself for a second, because I might be reading way too much into a kid's movie about a panda who does Kung Fu. The simplest explanation is that the movies didn't explain Kung Fu's origin because they just didn't need to. It's a martial arts comedy. You don't explain where Kung Fu comes from for the same reason a superhero movie doesn't stop to explain where punching was invented. It's the furniture of the genre. Maybe there's no deeper meaning at all. And that's a completely fair point. Not every gap in a story is a secret message. Sometimes a missing explanation is just a missing explanation. But here's why I still lean the other way. This is the one franchise whose central object, the Dragon Scroll, is literally about the idea that the answer you're chasing isn't where you think it is. In a story built entirely around there is no secret ingredient, a conspicuously missing origin doesn't feel like an accident. It feels like the whole point. But I'll let you be the judge of that. So here's where I land. Kung Fu Panda never explained where Kung Fu comes from, and I don't think that's a flaw. I think it's the franchise quietly trusting you to understand its deepest idea without being told, that the thing you're searching for was inside you the entire time. Same as the scroll, same as Po, same as Oogway kneeling at that mountain pool, looking at his own reflection. So now I want to hear from you, and genuinely, tell me I'm wrong. If you think DreamWorks just forgot to explain it, and I'm giving a panda movie way too much credit, drop too much credit and tell me why. But if you think they left it out on purpose, that the missing origin is the point, drop on purpose. I'm going to be in the comments replying for the first hour this is live, so come argue with me. And if you want to go deeper on just how deliberate Oogway really is, how he may have planned the entire franchise from the start, I've got a full breakdown right here that pairs perfectly with this one. I'll see you in the next one.